Eduardo, Maricela, Eric, thank you so much for sitting with I-24 News. Venezuela was the richest country in Latin America, I guess, before you all moved to the States and you grew up when the country already sort of fell apart. How did you feel the change?
I never pictured my life being so full of uncertainty as it is right now. And then you have to take pieces, wherever you are, to rebuild yourself into a new person, clinging to the conviction that who you are is the country that you left, and rebuilding it is something that is a mission to your life.
Well, of course, the uncertainty that is the basic definition of our existence right now. But I think it's very hard to see the gap so clearly between what we could be and what we are right now. So it's hard living in the States, and you get accustomed to life here. It's pretty natural, everything works, well, sort of does. And then you go back home and it's like this time capsule from like 25 years ago that hasn't evolved.
I feel that our responsibility as young people right now, as Venezuelans, we believe that since that generation didn't take part of the public policy or the politics in general in Venezuela, we needed to take charge. My past 10 years of my life have been always doing something. Like my weekends would be involved doing politics, doing demonstrations, thinking about how to connect to people, to the need to our people, and how to translate that to our tools, because we're still being young people. I want to be part of the reconstruction of Venezuela.
Whose fault is it, the bad situation in your country? Who do you blame? Do you blame Maduro? You blame Chavez? You blame socialism?
First of all, allowing a man who tried to destroy democracy to run for president in 1998, supported by sectors of the Venezuelan elite, that's Chavez, whom I call the destructor of Venezuela.
Placing the blame on the people who voted for Chavez is very harsh, considering what the country had been going through before Chavez. The upper class was very, very wealthy. The poor class was getting poorer by the minute. And it was a growing economic inequality that was very pronounced by the end of the 1990s. So here comes this guy. He was the man of the people. He was young. He had a charisma, an insane charisma, and people fell in love with him. He romanticized the idea of socialism, and people fell in love. People fell in love with him. And now they're blaming Maduro without giving Chavez his quote of the blame.
Do you feel like people in Venezuela have learned the lesson? Only 3 months ago, you had elections in your country. Maduro has been elected with 68% of the vote.
I will get back to that word, learn. Venezuelans right now don't have even the time to think what they're going to eat right now. They are not even thinking what they're going to eat tomorrow. They are trying to find out how to find a medicine for the people that are dying on the streets. The situation right now goes beyond ideologies, goes right now beyond politics or politicians or points of view.
I have no doubt that what is going on today in Venezuela is a genocide, because someone who's ruling the country go on TV and enact a series of measures that will only damage and hurt the most vulnerable people that in the first place you promised to protect. You're killing them.
Just a few weeks ago, we saw the attempted attack on Maduro while he was giving a speech with the drones. Do you think an uprising is soon? Do you think it's even possible to happen in Venezuela?
Military is mostly bought. As long as they have money, I don't see that happening anytime soon. But then again, there has been uprisings, but somehow the government always wins.
We still believe in that the transition or the exit of this problem becomes from us. For us being organized and for us communicating and being united. Because when we are united and we communicate proper things and we go to the same way, our history has shown that we can get through this. Because this is not the first dictatorship of our history, this is the third one that we're facing.
I don't think that Venezuelans, as the country is right now, are by ourselves capable of overcoming this terrible catastrophe by ourselves. We are in dire need of support by the international community.
Yeah.
We need humanitarian aid, and we also need some sort of intervention to help the people.
If you could talk to President Trump, what would you have asked him to do?
Definitely, President Trump has been one of the biggest supporters of right now the crisis that we're facing as Venezuelans. His voice has been listened by so many presidents right now, and they're taking actions because the U.S. is taking action on that.
And they have materialized.
Yeah,
their actions.
they have. Right now, there is
accounts. They have travel ban. They have put travel bans on members of the government.
This administration has taken a firm stance on protecting the lives of Venezuelans. I think the Department of State, the Treasury Department, Ambassador Nikki Haley at the UN have done the job. Yeah,
More than previous administrations, more than the Obama administration.
More than the Obama administration, no doubt whatsoever about the actions of the Trump administration.
Maricela, I'll finish with this question. Do you think that the dire situation in Venezuela is getting as much exposure or is somewhat overshadowed when you compare it with, you know, what's going on in Yemen and Syria right now?
I think people don't know nearly enough of what's going on. I feel like not shedding darkness on other regions in the world. Everybody's going through a lot of stuff, and it's terrible times right now when you open the news everywhere you go. But still, something happens that people are not interested. I don't know if it's not a story that doesn't sell, or because we haven't had protests in a year, people lost interest, and they don't know that in a year things have gone really, really bad. Things are way worse than they were a year ago, but nobody's covering the stories because nobody's getting killed in a protest. Nobody wants to read about kids dying every day. They're just dying.
Thank you very much for a very interesting conversation.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to spread the word.